Hi again, it's me, Yankee again. Sadly to say, if I look kinda crappy, it's because I feel crappy. Just something I wanted to talk about. I mean, I wanted to just get it out in the open, only because of, something that I want to document. It was the weirdest thing I have ever encountered. I don't know if I have mentioned this before, but I constantly have just terrible nightmares, as part of my, major depression. I mean, I don't know if it links to that or not, but I'm pretty sure it has because of my tragic past, and my tragic past, is part of the cause for my major depression. But the nightmares, I have been having constant nightmares all the time, not a single good dream, or, not something that isn't good enough to call a dream. I haven't had an actual dream that isn't a nightmare for several months. But get this. When I woke up today, I don't know if I want to say the most wonderful dream, but it was a dream I definitely didn't want to wake up from, because it was so wonderful. And if it seems like I'm about to cry, it's because I probably am, but I'm trying not to. I had a Xanax a little bit ago, so if it weren't for that, I would be very panicky, and I would probably not be able to make this video, but I'm only making the video because I want to document for myself, so I can remember. I want to look back on this and I'm like, wow, did this really happen? And not just this happening to me, that I had this dream that I can't really explain how it happened, because for several months I have not been able to have a decent dream that isn't a nightmare. And I don't know what I could have done hypnotically or whatever, what I could have done different, because I really didn't do anything, because the night before I had an extreme panic attack and I've been crying for the past few nights. Just not being able to function properly. But before I get into some of the details of the dream, I want to say that, unfortunately, I was abruptly woken from the dream by something that hardly ever happens here on the East Coast. And I woke up to the bed shaking, and I looked up to see, everything else was just, in the room. It wasn't just me. I was not imagining this. If I could have recorded it at the time, I would, but I didn't have a camera handy, because I do have a new camera. But it's not a webcam, but I have yet to try it out, so, but this was a rare occurrence, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get it out there that, there has been an earthquake. Well, I'd say about an hour or so ago. And strangely enough, that was the first thing that came to my mind, because there is a level below this, because of the lady that I'm staying with has 4 levels in her house. So there is a cellar down below here, even though I'm kind of living downstairs to the main living area, and then there's upstairs. But I was kind of almost expecting, okay, I woke up in a panic, and before I went upstairs, I was expecting everybody to come swarming down, and I am not kidding. Nobody came downstairs, but I thought they were going to start panicking or something and tell me to go down to the basement that there's an earthquake, because that was the first thing on my mind. But yeah, I was suddenly awoken from this dream that I didn't want to wake from, because I haven't had a decent dream in several months. A dream that I can't necessarily call it a nightmare. To be suddenly woken up by a very rare occurrence for the East Coast. I mean, come on. I hate to say this, but it's starting to make me go back to the thoughts that I have about 2012 and how the earth is shifting and all that. And, it's almost like I'm expecting these strange occurrences because of what they're saying. Not just in the movie, and I know the movie's a little over-exaggerated, but there's still the possibilities. And I'm just seeing this as another one of nature's ways of saying that, these things are happening, and this thing is going to happen, whether we want to believe it or not. Well, I apologize for the messy hair. I really do. I'm still kind of shaken up a little bit, but not half as bad as it was earlier, because I feel much calmer now. I've been doing a little bit of hypnosis to try to calm myself down, and probably after I get done with this, I'll probably listen to either one of my own sessions, or maybe one of the Deanie's sessions, or Janspire's sessions, even though he says that he's getting out of the hypnosis thing now, but I don't know. But just want to let you know that that's what's been happening lately, and I wanted to document that, but not just for my remembering for later on, but it's just when I woke up, I was scared shitless. I didn't know what to think, because, other than earthquake was the first word that came to my mind when I woke up from this otherwise wonderful dream. But getting back to the dream, it was graduation day at my high school, and even though I went to high school here, the dream was that I was in Canada and I was graduating from high school, and I saw a lot of people that I knew, and I didn't know much of my graduating class in the dream. Okay, this is the dream I'm talking about, and not a lot of it made sense, but my new best friend was in the dream. He played a major role in the dream, actually, because when it was time for the graduation ceremony, and again, I apologize if I'm getting very emotional in this video. It's because it hits me very hard. It hits me in a very sore spot. My new best friend, Marty, was in the dream, so as soon as I, how in a graduation ceremony, all the graduates would go up on stage, get their diploma, blah, blah, blah. Well, I went and did all that, and then when I got off of the stage, at the bottom of the stairs, there was him standing there. And he asked me to go and sit with him. And so I went over and sat with him, and we were just talking. Just talking about random stuff. And the next thing I know, actually no, before this happened, before Marty greeted me at the bottom of the stairs, I hear this song playing, and everybody was singing. They were singing "O Canada," and I started to sing it with them. And I know it's not my national anthem. I know, actually, I have not sung the Star Spangled Banner in over a year. I'm not kidding. I've not sang it in over a year. Since last 4th of July last year. But that was most of the dream. But there were other parts too where I was just, kind of playing around with hypnosis. This was a whole completely different scene. This was before the graduation ceremony, and I was joking around with these other guys, just kind of flirting with them, and one of them said, one of them knew that I was into hypnosis, and of course they didn't really understand it, so they're like, well, can I hypnotize you just for the fun of it? I'm like, sure, go ahead. And of course they made me do, silly things, but you gotta remember this was a dream. In real life, I wouldn't let them do anything unless I knew what they were going to do, and I would have to trust them, so. And the same vice versa. The client would have to trust me and what I would do for them, or the subject, or whatever. But that was the dream. But as soon as I think the dream ended suddenly when I was just sitting down talking to my new best friend, just talking while they were singing. And get this, they were singing it over and over again. They wouldn't just stop at the last line of the song. I'd sing it, but my singing would probably so horribly crappy right now because I look crappy and I feel crappy. But, yeah. And then, when I woke up, I decided that, I was so panicky. I woke up in such a panic that after I took my Xanax, I decided that I wanted to talk to him. So I went on Skype, talked to him about it, and of course he told me that he felt the earthquake too, and he said that it could be felt all the way from, and we're talking up and down the East Coast, and we're not just talking about America here, because he said that they could feel it all the way up in Toronto. And I kind of made a joke. I believed him and everything, but I kind of made a joke, and I'm like, well, it's not the Canadian National Tower that shook, did it? Because I know how tall that building is. And I'm like, well, there's no way. There's no way an earthquake can even do as much as shake that tower unless it was a very high magnitude. But it's just what gets me most of all is that earthquakes are so rare on the East Coast. You would never think. I don't know about much of the history of the East Coast as far back as centuries or so many decades ago, because, come on, I've been out of high school for a long time. I'm 25 years old. I don't remember much, and I don't know if I studied much history in high school that I can remember, but it's the first one I have ever experienced, and I was scared. I was panicky. So, yeah. But that concludes this little documentation of what went on when I woke up and before I woke up. So, I better get going. I got things to do. And I need to try to calm down a little bit more so I can function properly. So, alright, hope you guys have a tranquil day. And blessed be.